welcome. Thanks for joining us. It's another Tuesday afternoon. It's super duper hot where I am right now. It's like mid 90s, so I have like no problem just staying inside and trying to stay a little cool and hanging out with all my favorite nerds, these folks right here. So before we get rolling, does anyone have any special announcements that they would like to make? Well, I guess I have one. I've been learning to use the video editing software, and I a couple of days ago put in some serious work and updated the YouTube playlist. So if you want to search for Roll for Mischief Winds of War on the YouTube, you can find our full playlist with all like 90 plus videos of the entire history of this game. So if you want to get up to speed with what's been happening in the story, everything is super current. Even last week's session is up there, ready to be viewed. So,
Nicely done.
yeah.
On top of that, more than I am.
Oh man, dude. I mean, it was one of those things like it was really nice to learn this new skill, and then I was getting through it, and I was thinking like, God, this is way easier than I thought it was going to be. Why did it take me so long to like give this a try? This is not bad. This is not bad.
I think I'm afraid of technology, like emergent moving technology.
Me
and I'm
too.
like,
Me
I
too.
don't want to do a thing.
Yeah.
I've got an
scary.
announcement if you're done with yours.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I don't know how applicable it'll be to any of this current audience, but it seems like the other game that we host, the off and on Misfits and Mischief game that's been on Sundays, that will be moving to a new channel. If it's on hiatus now, but if it comes back, it'll be moving to a new channel. All the content will be hosted through that channel. All the previous content. I don't know if we're going to keep it on Roll for Mischief or not. Um, but yeah, if you've been following that game, it's gonna change, and that's been our game that's been more popular on YouTube anyway. It's gonna change hands. More details on that as we know them. I would love to promote the channel that's taking that one on more as well.
Hell
So,
yeah.
yeah.
All right. Any more announcements from anyone?
Hit hot air, if I can speak. It's a bit hot here too.
Oh, you guys. Oh, well,
Yeah.
at least it's evening where you all are getting
Good
cooler.
announcement.
Yep.
That's a good
We're
start.
talking the weather. I'm at like 68 degrees, so I'm loving it.
Wow.
What's that in like English? British?
What's that in proper measurements?
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. So,
Someone tell me. Chat, save me.
Someone figure out the
Save.
conversion.
save. Okay.
20.
So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and kick into those fancy new updated super duper slick intro credits that I love so much. Here we go. Bam.
We're on.
I accidentally like set it so that it would restart. We almost
Oh,
did
no.
it twice through. It's okay,
You left it on
everyone.
loop.
It's okay, everyone. We're back. I thought I set that correctly, but I did not set that correctly.
To make ourselves look really professional, we're just gonna cut that.
Hey, I got the video editing skills now. I can cut whatever I want. So, anyways, welcome. We are officially here, and we are going to transition into what we like to call group therapy, which serves as a way to kind of recap what's happened in the past session and also check in with the characters and see how they're feeling about current events. And since I'm talking, maybe I'll just go ahead and start with Agner. Agner is feeling. I think I was telling Asa earlier. Agner's very traumatized right now. He has just gone through so much in the past episodes, and in a moment where they're at Bronzewood Grove and he's recovering from being poisoned, and he's just taken a moment to try and relax and try and gather himself. In that moment, it's like he knew he couldn't fully relax. It's like he's just constantly on alert. He just constantly feels like something bad is going to happen, and guess what? It did. Bronzewood Grove was invaded by, magic users, and when they went to go check out this one group of magic users that was coming from the southeast direction, he found out that this NPC, Ethel Vashun, someone who is really important to his backstory or just his history in the game, she was there, and that totally threw him off his game. He then let his guard down, and that was a mistake because these people said that they were coming to take custody of Agner again, and he said, "I'm not going back," bah! And he freaked out. And there were some fights, but as it turns out, Agner, it seems like he wasn't the objective. It seems like they were actually trying to capture Emily, and they did. They captured Emily, so that's a weird situation. Agner is traumatized. He is really still paranoid and thinking that they're trying to get him, but then obviously they've taken Emily, and he just doesn't know what to do about it. He's completely at a loss, really. So, poor Agner.
Jumping right in, I feel that Halifax, despite this being rather traumatic, this is almost like snapping him out of the funk that he's been in. This is back to a clear enough objective for the group to rally behind, that he can sort of help sort of either shepherd them in that direction or to at least support them on their journey there. Because that's, Halifax's whole thing was to support a worthy cause, not be the one leading the charge. So he will follow Agner in his quest to go and retrieve Emily, if that's where we're going. It seems like that's probably where we're going.
We'll see where Agner's going. I have no idea.
Yeah, like Halifax is feeling a little invigorated, a little more back to his usual self, able to give like pep talks and that sort of thing, willing to use his magics to work wonders. So yeah, Halifax is in a good place despite tragedy all around him. I just keep thinking, what would Gandalf do in this particular situation? And that always seems to be like Gandalf's mode. It's like every time things get really, really dire, he's just like, I'll have a little joke to myself about something from 1,000 years ago and just, do a little speech. It'll be great.
You can always count on Gandalf for that.
Yeah.
So Ellie, she has just kind of been keeping to herself, but also helping Agner out as much as possible. And then sort of towards the end of the last session, when this new woman showed up, there was some slight sparks of jealousy there. So she was, keeping a strong eye out on what she was doing while hugging Agner. and discovered that she was casting some spells on him. They seemed protective. Just like, all right, fine. And then she did clarify, smoothly with Agna later that they're not friends anymore, so it's fine. But having seen Emily taken, like, Emily's probably one of the only people that Ellie's probably, I don't know, connected to the most, really. Like, she was working with her closer for a while. And I think Ellie's kind of sprung into, like, like, inventor mind, so, like, her immediate thoughts were, Emily's got that sending stone. We can find her like that, like, more, like, analytical of it. But similar to Halifax, Ellie is ready to follow Agner anywhere from a slight distance so she can observe him closely from behind.
It's to see him leave,
Okay.
watch him go.
Love to watch him go.
Alright.
Egner's got a good butt. I think I can say that. He's got a good
That's
butt.
Voloheen's butt.
Quick update on the extension situation. We're not going to have it this episode. You will not be able to view our characters. I'm sorry. We've got to change over the profiles that the channel is linked to with D&D Beyond. So
Yeah.
we'll get that figured out. We're back on it tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, but next week. Maybe tomorrow, but you won't see it.
It wouldn't be a regular session if we didn't have some kind of technical issue going on. It's
At least this is
just
a
gotta do
minor
it.
one, you know?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, as that quick, I think, recap we've already sort of worked out, Bronzewood Grove has been a pretty dull place. There's been a few minor missions, a lot of just trying to keep up the defenses. We found out the druids have been putting up traps and sort of spreading out this influential net in a larger area in the wooded area near Bronzewood Grove. Magic users came in with these chimera creatures, and they met up with the group and tried to get them to surrender. That didn't go so well. Then they got into the center of Bronzewood Grove, were able to sort of have a full-on assault where they took Emily and then started to disappear. That's where we left off.
And then Halifax used Counterspell to stop one of the dudes
True.
from teleporting. Is true. So we have a hostage.
Yes, there is a hostage left behind. This mage is kind of spinning around, taking in all of the druids and everyone converging in on him. And he just doesn't seem to really know what to do. There's too many people for him to take all on his own. What are you guys going to do?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Asa, because I think I've got a spell for that, which is a really funny thing to say for Agner, given that he's not the biggest spell person, but he's slowly becoming a spell person. Very slowly. He's like a 3rd level cleric. That's awesome. Okay, so Agner's gonna walk up. And he's not going to do anything necessarily threatening to the dude at the moment, but he's not concerned with like tying the guy up or anything like that. But what he is going to do is he's going to place his hand on the ground right in front of him, and this bluish, kind of silvery, kind of weird looking pulse of energy will flow through his arm to his hand, hit the ground, and it'll spread around in this radius encompassing both Agner and the hostage. And he's going to cast Zone of Truth. And that fella right in front of me has to make a charisma saving throw, DC 14. And if he fails, he cannot lie. And also,
All right.
I will know whether or not he succeeds or fails. I'll have this kind of like intuition to know if he's affected by the magic.
If memory serves, it's everyone within a certain radius.
Well, that's
It
true.
is everyone within
That is true.
the zone. That is very true.
Yeah. So
I will be in that zone.
Very
so I will
well.
Also make the save, and I just rolled a 7. What was
I'll
the
be in
DC?
zone too.
it is 14. Everyone's speaking the truth.
Everyone speaks the
What
truth.
I was thinking, does Zone of Truth, like, if they get hurt, it doesn't end, does it?
No, it doesn't really say anything about that. It does last for 10 minutes, and then I'll say this as well. An affected creature is aware of the spell, and thus can avoid answering questions to which it would normally respond with a lie. Such a creature can be evasive in its answers as long as it remains within the boundaries of the truth.
So this is where one of my homebrews of Zone of Truth comes in. You will make a save, probably a Wisdom save, if you against Kyle's DC. If you succeed that save, you know you're taking the effects of Zone of Truth. If you fail that save, you are unaware.
Ooh, well that's interesting.
Mhm.
So it's
So
a
what is-
charisma save to be affected by the spell at all, and then it's a wisdom save to have this kind of awareness about it.
That's how I homebrew it. Yeah, because
Okay.
I've had situations. I've had a player read that out loud to me, and be like, so they can just not talk. That's stupid. And I'm like, that is kind of stupid. You don't have to.
See,
sir.
I usually have my homebrew of Zone of Truth is they are like compelled almost to tell the truth. Like, every time they try to talk, the truth just comes out.
Like the movie Liar Liar,
Yes.
the pen
Exactly like
is blue.
That's hilarious.
pen is
I've never
blue.
thought of it that way. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so so I will cast the zone. Everyone will do their saves and everything, and Egner will say very gravely, "My friend, it's time to talk."
Okay, so I think I failed the first save, but passed the second.
Same here. I got 26 on my Wisdom save, but a 9 on my.
So how do you
Charisma
rule that, Asa, sir?
Well, you roll you're aware of the spell in the first place. You pass that save, right?
Yeah,
True.
I think, yeah.
If you
Sorry.
pass the first save, you don't need to make the second save.
Oh yeah.
No, I
I
failed the
failed.
first
Oh,
save.
okay. So yeah, both of you are in the effects of the Zone of Truth, are aware of the fact that you're in the effects of the Zone of Truth, and
Yes.
can respond, can actively be aware of that and respond in that.
I would like to, when Agnes says it's time to talk, I'm gonna, so knowing what the spell is and what's happened, I'm gonna take hold. I was gonna take hold of the guy's throat. That might be a bit much.
Might be hard for him to talk.
No, I'm gonna. Depends. I'll put my hand on his shoulder for now, and then if he starts being annoying, I'll move to his throat.
Ooh.
And basically, if he tries to be evasive, I'm gonna cast Shocking Grasp.
Ooh, damn.
Like,
Wow.
Nice.
Wow. Just little jolts here and there. Bat. Bat. Wrong answer. Bat.
exactly.
So Asa, my perception of the dude, is he under the effect of the spell? Do I know?
Yeah, he is. And actually, since I critically fumbled the save, I'm just gonna give it to him. It's not even be able to take the second save.
Word.
Yeah, he is so overwhelmed by the fact that he's in this massive threat-based situation that he didn't even notice that you had cast the spell.
Mm.
And then when you tell him it's time to talk, he turns and he says, "Whatever you need, I surrender. I don't want any trouble."
What is your name?
My name is Dari.
Dari? You work
Yeah.
for the ISCB?
Yes, I'm a junior agent for the ISCB.
What is your relationship to Ethel Vashun?
Who?
What is your relationship to Ethel Vishun? She was here. She is burned
Oh,
very
oh,
badly.
yes. I don't know her well. She's one of the top ranking agents, and I've had very little connection with her personally. My captain usually handles the transactions between us.
What do you know of Vincent Vishun?
Uh, that that information is a little before my time, but from what I understand, a lot of it is very hush hush. There's lots of rumors that go through the ISCB, stories of him uh, being locked in the darkest places, under some kind of mental torture constantly, maybe even under the gaze of beholders. I think that's a bit much, but there are rumors that fly around, but no senior officer would ever talk to me about that.
So,
And I don't nose my way into things that aren't my business. I really don't. I try to keep myself in.
so to be clear, you were not here on orders from Vincent Vishun.
No, no, we no.
Whose orders brought you here?
Well, our mission was sent by the headmaster, or whatever. What do we call him? What do we call
Uh,
the council that runs the?
oh man, I can't remember.
It was a very
It was a very good one. It was a good name.
no. It wasn't. It wasn't good. It was very bureaucratic. Um,
The board. Was
yeah, I
it?
think it
Was
was
that
the
it? It
board.
was. It was the board.
Yeah, we were
Chairman of the
sent
board.
by Chairman Edoras. There's another E name for you. Sorry about that.
All right. Hey, no, it's a theme. It's a theme by this point.
Yeah.
Chairman Edoras. Hmm. Was your objective? Was your primary objective to capture me, Egner Bosch, or was your primary objective the one that you achieved to capture Emily Beweil?
Were sent here to capture the leaders of the former resistance of Twin Harbors.
Multiple, multiple
Multiple,
leaders, as
yeah.
many as you could get.
There were some key targets: Eridu, Eridu Samaria, and a bunch of E names: Emily, uh, you, uh, Egner.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you know of a connection between the chairman and the government of Twin Harbor?
Uh, Lately, since the chairman has taken his position, he's reached out to all of the city states, and the harbors. He is looking for anyone who's adept magically that can be trained. From what I understand, he's trying to put together some group of specialists as a defensive measure against the Empire's latest movements.
Hmm.
As far as what deals he made with any of the leaders of the city states, I couldn't tell you. That's not my position to know.
This really stinks. Dari? It's Dari, right?
Yeah. Yes.
This really stinks. This stinks of corruption. This stinks of something that I don't like very much. The ISCB, as I understand it, it's supposed to be an international, independent organization. The fact that they're linking up with the government of Twin Harbor in their dirty political dealings, it just stinks to me.
Oh well, that is a story of necessity. The Dwarven Empires cut off all contact with the ISCB several months ago. They stopped being supportive of us and allowing us to investigate in their borders. Something that, as soon as the chairman took over, stated was almost a declaration of war against the Bureau itself.
The ISCB's taking sides now.
As a precaution to their own safety, it seems that the new chairman feels that it's the safest thing to do.
Hmm. Where did they take Emily?
I believe that procuring the rebel leaders was a show of good faith for um, for the harbors. They may have taken them there. They may have. I can tell you this. I can tell you this. The teleportation we're using, it's very short ranged. They won't be far. Um, we don't have a way directly back to the bureau from here. It takes a while to set up these connections. Um, but yeah, they'll have teleported to a safe location not far from here, and will then be moving. I hadn't been given our orders there yet.
Do you have access to this teleportation magic?
Yeah, yes. It's a short range teleportation that only will take one person.
Only one. Only yourself.
Yes.
Is there any way for you to take us? More of us, at least 3 of us.
Um, it's a bit more advanced than I've actually worked my way into magically, but I can try.
I'll look back at Ellie and Halifax in their direction and say, do you all have any questions?
Oi, mate. Do or do not. There is no try. That's my attempt at a Cockney accent. There we go.
I do feel like I've been missing something over here. You guys have been giggling like little schoolgirls.
I'm just taking a pop at the chat.
Trying not to laugh.
Because Halifax is the only non-E name here.
Elofax.
Hello, Fax.
Hello, Fax. Okay, that's funny. That's really funny.
But yes, I think Halifax will in fact take a crack at this guy. What is ultimately the goal of the ISCB now?
It seems that the new management would like to use the ISCB as a staging point to find people that have magical, like any affinity for magic, and to train them in effective use of their skills as a defensive measure against the amassing armies of the Empire along the river.
I find that troubling and intimidating in equal measure.
It's meant to be a show of force, something to. At least this is what I was told when I was training, to de-escalate rising tension. The theory is that by having people trained in magic, one wizard can take on an entire platoon if they're well trained. That might dissuade the dwarves from attempting whatever it is they're building up to attempt.
It never works. And the arms race never does what you want it to do.
To the best of my knowledge, this has never been tried before. I think that an effective magical force might be enough of a deterrent.
Has anything been said about, if someone was able to just make magic items? Like, you got anyone like that on your list there?
Oh, I mean, I don't know anyone personally, but definitely levels of the ISCB have been redirected towards manufacturing magical artifacts. It seems like it's not in a stage of mass production, because I haven't seen a lot myself, but definitely some kind of theory crafting. Same with the increase of alchemist materials.
Out of curiosity, like how long is it taking them to make one of them magic items?
That's not something that I'm told.
Interesting. Um, turn around and sort of whisper, kind of to the other two, like, me and them don't really get on.
I can
They're not
imagine that
fun.
relation is going to only worsen, Ellie.
Hmm.
Perhaps it is going to be worth our while to have access to this font of information in the future. What do you propose we do, Agner?
I I'm I'm not sure. Part of me wants to act now in a very rash and a very reckless kind of manner and force this magic user to teleport us as close as he can to where Emily is. But we could be outnumbered, outarmed, out magicked. It could be the most foolhardy move. But I'm afraid that if they take her any farther, then we'll lose our opportunity entirely.
Agnes, do you have any sort of like scrying spell at all?
Uh, no. I hardly know what that is, to be honest.
I might be able to try something. It just requires access to materials that I do not presently have, but perhaps one of the druids does. Dungeon Master. Great, wise, and mighty Acer, whose power is unparalleled and wisdom knows
Uh-oh.
no bounds.
What is it gonna ask for? Yeah. Butter him
I
up.
would
Your
Yeah.
master listens.
I would very, very much like to cast the augury spell,
Mhm.
but it requires specially marked sticks, bones, or similar tokens worth at least 25 gold pieces.
Hmm.
My arcane focus will not cut that. It's got a price. So, could I have a quick word amongst the druids and see if they have specially marked sticks, bones, or similar tokens
That
that I might
sounds
borrow?
that sounds exactly like something that some
Yeah.
crazy druids would have. Yeah.
That definitely falls into the wheelhouse of the druids. While you go and speak with some of the druids, and I'm just going to hand wave this and say in a few minutes you can get these items. Leovan is going to approach this man, carrying on his shoulder, surprisingly well for someone of such frail build, is one of these large creatures that the mages have brought with them. He's going to plop it on the ground, just standing just outside the zone of truth. He's going to drop it into the zone, and he's going to say, "What I would like to know is what devilry you have used to create such." Dari looks at him and I don't develop this sort of thing. That is another longer project from what I've heard, but recently has been diverted towards mixing multiple different species of animals together to try to get some kind of optimized uh, tracking tool. These are how we were able to even make it to this part of the grove, and even work through some of the very clever illusory defenses that you had set up.
Dari, I have the feeling that we're gonna need some more questions from you. Just a moment. And at that point, Egner goes rummaging around in his pack And at this point, yes, he does take out some rope, and he goes through the process of hog tying Derry, to use an inelegant word for it, bind his feet, bind his hands so he can't do any magical gesture doodads or whatnot. And he considers, like, I don't know, kind of like getting some rope in his mouth so he can't do any like verbal components or whatever. He's considering that, but not at the moment because the zone of truth is still going strong for a little while longer.
What is the duration of that spell?
10 minutes.
Okay.
So however long we've been talking, we got however long left.
Yeah. He doesn't seem to put up any fuss to you tying his hands. That's almost expected. But when you start to tie his feet, now are you actually tying them together like a full-on hog tie?
Oh no, not like
Okay, okay.
not like hands and feet like that or anything,
Yeah,
but it's like
okay.
his hands are separately bound, and then his, yeah, I guess hog tying is like a specific kind of thing.
It's a very specific type of
It's,
tie.
yeah, no.
Uh,
So he, yeah, just binding his hands and then binding his feet together. So he's like, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of isn't that a bit extreme? I mean, I can't really run too far.
Dari, let me tell you something about myself. I do not trust magic, and I do not trust magic users farther than I can throw them.
Well, that's unfortunate because there's a lot of good magic can bring to the world. You
Right,
would just see it.
right. Now, believe me, I've seen more than you realize, Dari. Some ugly shit.
Okay.
Do you know the direction they went with Emily? Do you know the safe place that they teleported to?
There was a clearing just off the path that the trail guard had made sure was reasonably defended. It's probably about half a mile southeast of here.
Are they going back to Twin Harbor?
Um, I don't know. I believe we were to be debriefed after we had obtained our targets. Just depending on the success of the mission. If I had to make a guess, I would say this staging point was in an equal distance between Sedan and Twin Harbor. Both of those would be reasonable options. And both locations have direct routes to the ISCB.
Can I pull Agner and Halifax aside, kind of
Yeah.
excitedly,
Sure.
with, like, I just had an amazing idea.
What is it?
And I'm gonna pull out the hat of disguise, and I'm gonna turn myself into the guy who's just tied up.
Dari?
Yeah.
All right.
and I'm gonna ahem, and then say something like in his voice, and then be like, right, it'll work. Pretend that I captured you. Pretend that I stayed behind. I captured you two. I'm the big bear thing. The girl got away. Here's Agner Bosch and that wizard that causes problems. We get in. I get information. I'll be like, okay, what's the debrief? Where are we going? And then we get the plan. It's genius. If I do say so myself.
Ellie, that's just crazy enough to work. Okay. Agner starts scratching his chin and starts thinking about all the different kind of contingency plans that they might need to do, and what do you think, Halifax?
I don't like the idea of Ellie being put in such a compromised position. If she's discovered, we would likely not be able to help. However, it does present
I
perhaps
mean-
the greatest opportunity for us that we wouldn't get otherwise.
We'll be right there with her. We'll be able to help if things get not so great, you know.
Potentially, But surely, if we're being brought in, we would be separated at some point, potentially.
No, these are dumb mustache twirling villains who are just gonna put you all in the same cell with all of your equipment.
Wonderful. In that case,
We
I'm
could-
all for it.
Ask Dari, like, what do they do with the prisoners?
I mean, we have to transport you to the bureau, and then, well, um, I I don't always like talking about this because my job before I got to being raised to the station was to make sure that the prisoners had food and water, but it always made me uncomfortable exactly what the guards were required to do. But it is to essentially lock your mind into a point of stasis where you can't physically connect with your body and can't really observe the world around you.
Okay, but would they do that at they wouldn't do that at the meetup point, though, would they? That would be at the bureau.
Yeah, that's not an easy spell to maintain in an environment that has so many distractions.
Okay, so we just deal with it at the meetup point and then find out where they're going. And then deal with them there.
If it's going to be a fight, I mean, it's going to be a fight. That's what I'm trying to say. There's. It's a good plan, Ellie, but the subterfuge is only going to get us in. It's not going to get us any farther than that.
But they might put you with Emily. They might put you two with Emily, and then you can break her out.
It is possible.
And we can get information where they're planning on going.
Egner starts to stammer a bit, and it doesn't take a very high insight roll or anything to tell that ever since the dude Dari talked about that particular kind of mental stasis that they had put the prisoners in, that hearing that got him shaken up, and he's he's just kind of coming unglued a little bit, just even thinking about it.
Can I put my hand on his shoulder and do where I can find it. With prestidigitation, can I make it feel warm? Just comforting warmth.
Yeah.
Thought you meant try and
think so.
find his shoulder.
What?
That's-
And then I'm gonna also ask Dara if he's got anything that's that would signify it's him. Does he have ID papers, or does he have a symbol that he has to show, or anything that is his that they would know?
Of course. He's his hands tied behind his back. He's trying to the breast pocket of my vest. You'll find.
Okay. I go through his pockets, all of them.
Yeah, you go through his pockets. He's got some sticks and some bones in one, very specifically marked. Around his neck is a symbol that is the what's the emblem of the ISCB. And then in one of his pockets you find a little pad of paper. It's got about 3 pieces of paper on it. All of them are empty. And he says, "Oh yeah, you just you need to speak the word, activate the parchment, and then it'll show the credentials that are necessary in the moment."
What's the word?
And he says a word in a magical word. I'm not great at describing those sorts of things. And as he does, the first paper lights up and then shows an image of his face, followed by his full name and title.
Okay, I take all of this information in.
Yeah.
Get away up here.
And essentially what you can kind of pick up is this is invisible script or invisible ink or whatever that spell is. It's like a permanently cast, and what he's doing is he's unlocking or is like momentarily allowing the people around him to see what's imprinted on them.
Okay. And I also ask him like if there's any other sort of passwords or phrases or anything like that that we'd need to know if he would have to give meeting up with people.
Um, well, of course, we would have designed a contingency plan in case someone was body snatched because those things happen. Uh, you just have to tell them that you are the one with the most sympathy and the least symbol. They don't know what that means. It doesn't make any sense to me, but they know.
Okay. I'm gonna whisper to Agner and just say like, the spell's still on, right? You know, it's not worn off yet.
He's talking madness. It's okay.
It's
Yeah.
it is working for a little while longer. Yes.
Okay, just check it because you know. All right, I think unless anyone else has any thoughts of what else we need to know or do, I'm
Dar-
happy with our plan.
Derry, is there any
Yes.
other beasts with them other than the chimeras?
Um, with that particular group, no. But there are other pieces of the ISCB, big ones.
A new department of yours? Another part of this arms race? Creating monstrosities? When you jailed me for being a monstrosity, the ISCB creates monstrosities of their own. It's okay to have them as long as they belong to you. Is that right? Is that what this is?
I mean, the idea being, as long as they're regulated and controlled and not allowed to just.
It's hypocrisy, Derry, and it disgusts me.
But in the right hands, these things can be maintained, and they aren't a threat to anyone.
Egner just scoffs and walks away. He's just getting heated. He's just getting so heated right now.
I mean, it's the reason why we're concerned with the dwarves. Do you know that they regularly employ vampires? It's a part of their society. It's a thing that we need to keep an eye on. These beings that have powers beyond what we normally possess, they can be dangerous.
Look, the vampire I met was just an old man. An old man waiting for death. I didn't see any monster there. And I didn't see any monster within myself until I was captured.
I'm gonna make him roll an insight check because up to this point he's had no idea why you take this personally. Oh, he's gonna continue to put his foot in his mouth.
Look, Derry, I don't want to debate this anymore with you.
Okay. Then that's all, I guess.
I'm done. Do you all have any more questions?
Afraid not. We have a stated goal. We have some of their intentions and methods.
Okay.
Seems what is left now is to act.
Very well. I'm gonna walk over to Leovan really quick and just have like a short little hushed conversation where I will ask Leovan kindly to make something for Derry to just like take care of him, essentially just keep him prisoner. Don't treat him too badly or anything, but also make sure that he is completely contained is what I'm hoping for. And what I'm envisioning with Leovan is that, with just some brushes of his hands, he'd be able to manipulate the earth and just make a very simple isolated structure. And maybe like shift the rocks into being these bars, and we can have just like a very, very stereotypical earthen stone kind of jail cell that's just awkwardly standing in the middle of the field or something. I can't hear you, Asa.
I'm not talking.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So, so essentially, that's what I'm envisioning, and that's what, yeah, I just want Derry to be taken care of, just as a prisoner here in Bronzewood Grove. Have the druids look after him, and yeah.
Leovan smiles at you and says, "Of course, we will show him the same hospitality we gave the followers of Tix."
Maybe just a little more humane, perhaps.
Yeah. He looks slightly disappointed. All right.
Damn, Leovan, you're brutal. He's an old school pagan ass motherfucker. That's who he is.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, I know I said that they were dealt with, but what Leovan didn't say is that the followers of Tix were exiled. Although he kind of made it sound like they were not.
Oh yeah.
If he had it his way, there would have been different consequences.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
At least that's the Leovan that I portray.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Leoven's got that all covered. And then Egner's gonna come over to Ellie and Halifax and say, shall we rest a bit, talk over the plan, or should we spring into action?
How long does it take to walk or jog, however far it was he said?
About a half a mile.
Half a mile?
Half an hour. Hold on. No, about an hour.
For half a mile?
Half a mile?
I don't think it takes that long, dude.
Yeah.
Can't be that long.
It maybe take like...
Probably not, Ellie.
I mean, the average walking speed is what is it? I forget. Like 2 miles an hour.
Mm.
So I mean, I think
So
half
it
a
would
mile
take,
for half an hour is pretty good timing. It'd probably take closer to an hour.
The average walking speed is 3.1 miles per hour. So
Oh, man.
yeah,
it
so
would
it's
take
like
like
15
dude, no,
Yeah.
it'd take like 10 minutes or something, dude. Take
Why
like
would it-
10 minutes to walk
It's
half a
half-
mile.
Oh,
Well, it depends on
the.
the.
it's
Well,
half
oh,
a
okay,
mile
yeah,
to
yeah.
walk, but it takes you can walk 3 miles in an hour.
Yeah.
So does
Okay.
it not only take like 15-ish minutes?
oh yeah.
I'm totally thinking about.
Yeah?
Okay, yeah. So, okay.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't know math.
I don't know. I did a total reversal because I'm pretty sure I just said, oh yeah, it's the average walking speed is 2 miles an hour, so it's going to take you an hour to get half a mile. I think that's what I just said because I was thinking
Harry?
backward.
You,
What?
You don't know what, Kerry?
Maths! I put an S
Oh,
there. Get
Yeah,
away
yeah,
from
okay,
maths.
okay.
I failed at my maths today too, so
I know what you're getting at, Drew.
So.
I'm kind of embarrassed about how stupid I just sounded a few minutes ago. So I can't stop this from the entire, not only from like the YouTube, but like just all of you forget it happened, please, or I will
No,
send the
don't.
ISCB to remove it from your memory.
Hey, Halifax has a spell for that.
Mhm.
I do. Also, what was the result of my augury?
Ooh.
That is a good question. Now I need to look up what that spell does, don't I?
It's basically I ask a higher power. Now, the spell doesn't specify that I even get to pick the higher power.
Interesting.
It just says that I receive an omen from an otherworldly entity
Oh,
about
yeah.
the results of a specific course of action I plan to take within the next 30 minutes.
Interesting. Okay. Do you need to make a check when you
I
cast this
don't know. If I make multiple castings of the spell within a 24-hour period, then I get a cumulative 25% chance of a random result.
Mm.
So, on your fourth casting, that's going to be the last one where you're guaranteed, where you've got a chance of getting an accurate result. if you cast it like 5 or more times, it's going to be a random roll of the dice, whatever answer you get. But the answer is either weal for good, woe for bad, weal and woe, meaning this is going to be a good and bad mixed bag sort of thing, or nothing for results that are not especially good or bad. So, us going to the ISCB now.
Going to those people, the specific members who took Emma with, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. So, upon casting your augury, throwing the sticks and bones, you get a symbol of woe.
It's gonna be...
Bad, right?
I suggest that we use caution. One of us is likely to die. It's probably going to be the blind one. Not going to lie.
Is that what that means? It means someone's gonna die?
You got to interpret these things, you know.
I
What-
think it's being
What
too
else
negative.
can go bad?
Yeah.
You need to be an optimist in this. So it's coming from a higher power. Is it like, what if it's just their opinion? What if this is like, they don't want us to do it?
What if the
If
DM
it's-
just hadn't prepared this far?
Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, you're saying that to a god, an otherworldly power.
Yeah, okay, but what if?
Now you
If it was
cast
like
augury again. You're like, by the way, are you being honest with me?
Yeah.
Are you trying to like give me an agenda?
I think cast Sword of Truth. Cast Sword of Truth.
So, truth, the augury?
I don't have any spell slots left there. Sorry.
The augury cannot lie.
Wow.
Look, my thinking is that what if this higher power is like Agnes, whatever god thing, or like what if it's like the bad guy who's like a big, like it could be telling us like, I don't know. I think you just need to look on the bright side of things, no facts.
I was thinking in my mind of sugar drops and plum trees, happy things. I'm sure a good aligned deity saw what I was doing and was like, yeah, I'll give them a bit of help. I'll look into the future and let them know, or like use my omniscience to like just scope it out and see, like, if nothing else changes, this course of action will not go well for you. I mean, it could be that I like chip a nail on the way there. We don't know. We just know something bad
Is
is
it
likely
also
to-
is it likely to happen to you, the caster, or everybody?
it's not clear. It's just the course of action is likely to just not go well. And my idea of it going well is we go there and everything goes off without a hitch. So it might be that they don't take you for who you say you are, or like they don't. I don't know. They could be waiting for us on the other side. They could have like intentionally left this guy and made me cast counterspell when really he wasn't going in the first place. And this could be a ruse.
Could be a trap. It could be, but I'm so torn. I am so torn.
I'm gonna cast Akbar's third eye to see if this is a trap or
With
not.
a trap.
It should
am
actually be a spell. It should,
Yeah.
it
trying
should actually
to
be
pull
one.
up my notes. What was the name of the captain from the last session? Captain Joran?
Yeah, that's what it was.
I remember it was really close to the name of the dude from Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Agner will say, I'm very torn. As much as I want to help Emily before she gets any further into the ISCB's clutches, we have to realize how outclassed we are. The three of us against a squad of highly trained magic users. The odds are stacked against us. They really are.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I'm not exactly feeling too great right now. The Chimera did take a good beating off me. That's not the right way to say that. Took a good beating from the Chimera.
I'm also feeling fatigued, and I don't know how much fight I really have in me.
If why don't we could ask around and see if any of the druid is scrying a druid spell? See if any of the druids have scrying.
Uh, I you would
Oh, no, it is a
you would
druid
have to
spell.
ask
It
the
is.
druids.
I don't know.
It is because our druid in a different game has it. Okay, well, why don't? Because so Emily has no. Emily just has the sending stone. I could literally talk to her.
Right.
Oh,
I could. I
a
could
stone?
literally just-
Yeah, you have a
Yeah.
stone that can do something.
Remember, she made the sending stone that allowed her.
Well,
to
well, I
communicate
know,
with
but
people?
Egner's asking.
Oh.
Egner's clueless.
I'm sorry.
Um,
It was too apparently.
I pull out the sending stone as if it's just dawned on me that because in my head I was like, oh, we could just scry on it and we can see where she is. Just talk to her. Just talk to her.
It is worth a shot.
And it was jarring.
Jaren, yeah.
So I mean, it could mean that like we could rest and wait and then try and get a message to her and she can tell us where they are if she can see and hear and stuff. Like it might. My only worry is her using it might cause like suspicion. So I maybe don't want to use it too often in case they take it off of her. But so I'm just thinking like maybe we could rest and then try and contact her.
I think that's a good option. It's a good option.
Do we? So it's between either they're going to go to the ICB headquarters or they're going to go to Twin Harbors. Those are the two options.
The two towns that they mentioned specifically were Sadin and Twin Harbor.
Okay. Do we have?
Satan? I don't believe you
Have been there.
Yeah, as a player, you haven't been in a game where we've mentioned it, but it is a human settlement, city-state. That's the first city-state on the road into the Eastern Kingdoms from Twin Harbors. So it's the closest settlement.
Okay. Okay. So do we have any? Do we still have any contacts or anything in Twin Harbors that might be able to look out for if they come back?
Well, Halifax. Hadn't Halifax been looking into connecting with contacts
In Twin
that he
Harbor.
had pitched to Emily last session?
Yes. That exact thing. That exact very thing. Yep.
Do it, or have you done it, or just try and do it, or something.
Now, from what I recall, you had come to Emily and said there are people who were loyal to the revolution and may still be on our side. We should reach out to them and get them to act as informants for us on the local.
Yes.
There is a small list of names, no more than 4. And one of the people on this list is a man by the name of Alan.
Alan! I knew you were going to say that. Somehow I knew you were going to say Alan.
I
right
was
there.
missing him, and I was going to introduce him soon if no one else brought him back in.
Yeah, Alan. You know, he is the guy who owns the Cornerstone Inn. He lost his daughters and his wife when the drug epidemic of Sapphire Dream became a problem, and had posted notices of looking to get a word of their whereabouts. He is a man who's fallen on hard times, but he has always been kind to all of the members of the resistance and has at times housed those who were in danger, but has never openly done anything against the government of Twin Harbors, as far as we know. There are a couple other people as well.
Yeah, well, do we have any information on Alan and whether or not he's still there, like still
Uh,
in Twin Harbor?
yes, that's one of the things I was getting at. Is this is these are people that in your few ventures into Twin Harbor to keep an eye to figure out where the other scrying centers were at. You
Hmm.
had you had reached out and spoken with a few of these people, not to get their allegiance, but at least to like make contact with them to make sure they were still safe and still active. Um, Alan is still running the Cornerstone, but it seems the place is not open for business in the same regularity that it used to be. Um, One of the other people is an orc, and he was one of he was come on, I can't think of the names. So there's the dwarf dude who had the two orc uh, bodyguards. One of them was Brock, who went with you to the dwarven town, who was bitten by the vampire and kind of used as a blood mule, who killed that vampire and then left, like to start his own little orc revolution. Um, but I'm trying to remember the name of the. I think it was Buffo.
Which
Family?
one?
But
Which
the oldest son.
Tecker? Or no, that's Darius.
Yeah,
Darius
that
is
was
the
his name.
eldest son.
Yeah, yeah. One of his other bodyguards, who's an orc, was also kind of taken up on running the bar that Darius often frequented.
The Bottle and Blade.
Mm-hmm. He's the main bouncer there. Um, yeah, those were a few of the contacts we made, or kind of kept an eye on.
Do we have any way of contacting them quickly? Or not really?
That's a question for you guys. Do you have any way of contacting them quickly? Because I don't want to give you those answers.
I think that the way that I've been getting in contact with them would have been as safe as possible, and so not. So it would be like leaving coded messages in places after I've met up with them in person and sort of established that look, we'll leave messages here. But we don't have like an established network of like street urchins to courier messages around yet. So there's no like central drop-off point for all contacts. But it will require me to gain access to parts of the city, so it will be dangerous to send messages back and forth. But it's not as dangerous as me like fully infiltrating into the city and getting to meet them in person. So yeah,
Secret messages.
yeah. So I think it'll necessitate, a stealth check or something for me to be able to get a message to the spot without like a guard seeing it or something. It's dangerous. So that way we're not just like faxing people every 2 minutes.
It's just faxing. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hello,
I'm
faxing.
not-
Yeah.
Hey, I'm with it. I'm up with the times. I'm up with your Instagrams.
I think the problem in that will be time, though. Like, I don't think we have time for you to try and sneak into Twin Harbors, because it's like, if you're going to Twin Harbors, you will just find out if they go to Twin Harbors, because they already have, like, hours on, like, this long on us, plus the amount of time it would take us to get to where they are on our journey. So, I think we have two options. One, we go now and we do the first plan where we dress up. Well, I dress up as this guy. We take you as prisoners. You try to get to Emily. We try to break everyone out. / find out information about where they're going.
Go badly.
Yeah, that some pessimistic god up there believes will go wrong. I mean, I don't believe it, but whatever. Who am I to doubt the word of a god? I mean, I'm science. I'm not God, but the other option is we rest, potentially sleep for 8 hours in, and then we try and contact Emily on the sending stone. It might not work. She might not be able to get hold of it. You have to physically touch it, so she can't get hold of it. she won't get the message. I won't get a message from her. She has to also speak into it, so there's a lot of variables stopping that working. But it is an option. If one of the druids can cast scrying on her, we might be able to find out where she is. And we just try and find out which direction they went in. I mean, I guess we could go up there. There might be someone there that saw which way they go. Does any of you can you speak with animals? Layman probably speak with animals.
I, in fact, have a special ring.
Oh,
Allows me
yeah,
to do
of course,
so.
you were speaking to animals before. So you could maybe we could speak to the wildlife up there. They might be able to say which direction they went in.
Yeah, that's. I feel fairly confident about our ability to track, and it is also true that Laven and the other druids have access to some very mysterious magics that could help us in this situation. I do think it would be safer for us to rest.
Mhm. Agreed. It might be safer if we all rest, in like the same place, because don't want to get snuck up on or anything.
Oh yeah, of course. Let us abandon the digloos for the moment, and there's enough space in my abode over here for all of us.
Ellie grins and blushes. What great! That's such a great idea, Agner. I'm so glad you came up with it. Like, I'd hate to separate us like that. What a great.
It's brilliant, brilliant. Just crazy enough to work.
As you attempt to retire to the abode, Leovan will come to you and Agner and say, "Well, you decide what you should do from here on out. The druids and I will relocate. We will take our prisoners. If you need us, seek us on the island. That is where I took you to transport you further north.
Ah,
If you remember.
the island.
Yes.
Egner, for him it's kind of fuzzy because he wasn't there, but he should be looking at
Oh, right.
Halifax
I
and
forgot he
LA.
wasn't there. This is not the first time I've thought that someone was there that wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he can be telling this to Halifax as well. Since Halifax was actually in the island.
I was.
Yeah.
I was also freaked out.
Yeah,
I remember how much you seem to enjoy this place, so if you need us, we will be there.
I wouldn't miss it.
Very well. It is probably for the best that we leave Bronzewood Grove alone for a while.
Eridu will chime in for the first time. Yes, this place seems to have been very compromised. I also have things that I need to see about. I will find you all when I have found the answers that I am searching for.
Eridu, you've been here the whole time.
Yeah, because the last session ended with him like patting you on the shoulder and saying something, and then you told him to get the druids to help you with his illness.
Oh yeah, and then he was like, "I'm gonna be fine. Whatever, blah. I'm gonna be fine."
If that's your interpretation. What he actually said is, "I can't."
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
So,
Buddy.
Egner at that point will put a hand on Eridu's shoulder and say, "Be well, my friend, and come back to us."
At that, he coughs weakly and says, "Of course, I will do both of these things."
You'd better.
And with that, the druids begin. They take the prisoner. They cover his eyes with just one of them touches him, and roots grow around his eyes to cover him so he doesn't see where they're going. And they lead Dari off into the woods towards the river. Eridu turns and walks south out of the out of the Bronzewood Grove, all on his own, leaving just the four of you, three of you. I'm not there to work through this problem that you have about what to do with Emily. I believe that's probably a decent time to take a little bit of an early break, but it'll allow us to move on from there, unless you guys wanted to take a second and talk in Agner's home.
I feel like Kyle's muted. He was trying to say something.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, am I there now? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was saying something. I was saying there's a loose end in that the members of the Tranquility crew are there as well. I think I mentioned that.
I had forgotten about them entirely.
Yeah.
I thought you said they'd gone. I thought you said they'd moved on.
Oh, did you already say that, Asa? Okay.
I think
Well,
last session you said they'd left.
I think you're right. I think I did.
Okay.
Because of security reasons, they'd kind of yeah, everyone had sort of dispersed. Like even the druids had moved out of the central grove. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, everything's good then. And
I am glad that you kept that or brought that up, because I had actually forgotten about them.
mm-hmm.
But probably because I had made the steps to remove them, so I didn't have to remember them in the first place.
That's fair. That's fair.
If there's one thing I'm terrible about, it's managing NPCs.
Yeah, me too. I can
It's
be
hard
bad
to
at
do. You get a lot of people just hanging out, you know.
that. Exactly. And it's like, what are they doing? I don't know, like twiddling their thumbs. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I'm down to take an early break if y'all are down to do that.
Yeah, man, I need some coffee.
Word.
All right. See you in a bit.
All right. Yeah, check in with us in about 10 to 15 minutes, and we'll continue this little story we got going on. Boom. We'll be right back.